A Step into the Past Volume 23 Chapter 7. Book 23 Chapter 07, The Sword Saint of Qixia. The carriage made a turn onto the highway and began picking speed. Glancing around and trying to make sense of his surroundings, Xiang Xiaolong concluded that the carriage is not moving in the direction of the Chancellor residence where Lu Bue is supposedly residing. Where is Han Ji heading to? He wondered. He initially wanted to make use of Han Ji's carriage to discreetly leave the villa, avoiding the detection of spies who are keeping Ting Song Villa under surveillance. However, his curiosity is significantly aroused and he might as well enjoy his free ride and investigate further. A long night looms ahead and there is more than sufficient time for him to execute his original grand scheme. Pulling up his hood from his windbreaker, he was feeling at ease. Ever since Xiao Yuetan's morning warning, the fear of betrayal by his buddies has formed an indistinguishable source of stress, making him bitter and despondent. The moment he vowed to leave with great determination, the horror has completely disappeared without a trace. His only concern is Shan Ro. If Xie Ziwan turned out to be the loser in this conflict, based on Tian Dan's cruel methods, Shan Ro could face another calamity of clan extermination. Regarding this, he is at his wit's end and can only look on helplessly. As the carriage swerved left and right occasionally, it finally entered the highway leading to Xie residence. Xiang Xiaolong was astounded. Who is Han Ji rendezvousing? The carriage came to a stop at the main gate of Zhang Sun Long's residence. The next second, a side door swung open as a tall and remarkable fellow dashed out and swiftly boarded the carriage. Once again, the carriage began to move forward slowly. Xiang Xiaolong is incredibly puzzled. Han Ji came to Linzai along with Lu Bue and should therefore align himself with Tian Dan, who is at loggerheads with Zhang Sun Long. Why did Han Ji meet up with someone from Zhang Sun Long's residence and is behaving furtively as if they are afraid of being spotted by someone? Contemplating to this point, he would not hesitate any longer. Shifting to the edge of the carriage, he leaned over and placed his ear against the wall of the carriage and focused all his attention into eavesdropping. A voice as deep as a bass instrument sounded from within the carriage. Sun Hua pays his respects to Elder Marshal Brother. I miss you a lot. The man turned out to be the holder of the title, Linzai's #1 swordsman. It is Zhang Sun Long's capable son, Zhang Sun Hua. Han Ji's voice rang out. You are much more awe-inspiring compared to before. I am sure you have made significant improvements in your sword skills. After Zhang Sun Hua gave a modest reply, he praised, Elder Marshal Brother is giving me too much credit. What is the situation in Xianyang now? I heard Elder Marshal Brother is doing very well. Han Ji guffawed, Lao Ai is in urgent need of talented men and is naturally hospitable towards me. However, this man is extremely narrow-minded and cannot accommodate others better than himself. He can never amount to anything great. On the other hand, Lu Bue is indeed a hero who can see the big picture. If not for Xiang Xiaolong, he would have gained absolute control of Qin. Zhang Sun Hua coldly grunted, is Xiang Xiaolong's swordsmanship as formidable as what the rumors say? Han Ji sighed, he is as unfathomable as a ghost. No one has ever comprehended what he is genuinely up to. You should have seen his 100 battle saber right. Who could imagine and create such a unique weapon that can both hack and slash? Zhang Sun Hua agreed. After a esteemed teacher received the saber from the great king, he toyed with it for some time. Although he did not say anything, I can tell that he is moved. I rarely witness this expression on his face over the past 10 years. Han Ji warned, back to business. You should take precautions in case Tianjian and Tian Dan form a partnership. On the carriage roof, Xiang Xiaolong was immensely stunned, finally understanding why Xie Ziwan is behaving like it is the end of the world. Expectedly, Zhang Sun Hua sighed with a breath, we already knew about this and never anticipated Tian Dan to use this trick. Does Elder Marshal Brother have a good counter-strategy? Han Ji articulated, Lu Bue is the mastermind behind this scheme, using his connections to pull Tian Dan and Tianjian to the same side of the fence. Ultimately, Tiandan is the most powerful official of Qi. If he is willing to sacrifice Tiansheng, it is with absolute certainty that Tianjian would be the next king of Qi. This is unlike the past where the winner remains unpredictable. Thus, the circumstances are highly unfavorable for you and your allies. Zhang Sunsuanhua was infuriated. Both father and myself have done so much for Tianjian, how can he simply switch sides to rely on our nemesis? Han Ji sighed, power tussles within the court are simply the way it is. From Tianjian's point of view, whoever that can assist him in becoming king is a useful official. Moreover, I do not know how to continue. Liu Bue gave Tianjian his assurance that as long as Tiandan stays in power, Qin would never invade Qi and would even harass the three states, Han Zhaowei, permitting him to invade Yan without any reservations. You can see for yourself how tempting the conditions are. Zhang Sunsuanhua icily snorted, only a fool would be taken in by these lies. At the end of the day, this is just Qin's strategy of befriending afar, conquering near. The eavesdropping Xiang Xiaolong is even more confused than before. Whose side is Han Ji on? Han Ji suddenly suppressed his voice and speaks even softer than before. Xiang Xiaolong could not catch a single word and was about to curse him when Zhang Sunsuanhua dismissed. This is preposterous. My father and Tiandan cannot see eye to eye and would never reconcile. In addition, given Tiandan's unscrupulous reputation, it would be a matter of time before we become cannon fodder. Han Ji reasoned, this is merely using their strategy to your advantage. Tianjian has unwavering trust in Xie Ziwan. If you can offer the same terms to Tianjian, I guarantee Tianjian would still lean towards your side. Up till this point, Xiang Xiaolong has lost all interest in the conversation. He carefully and gingerly somersaulted off the carriage and vanished into the gloomy lanes. Locating a shadowy and secluded corner along the west city wall, Xiang Xiaolong tore off a part of his shirt and wrapped it around the head of the hammer. He incessantly hammered one chisel after another, one higher than the other, into the city wall, which had accumulated a large amount of snow. He then began to step on the iron chisels and ascended the city wall just like mountain climbers. To avoid the wind and snow, the patrolling soldiers have fortified themselves within a battlement. Using the grappling hook and ropes, Xiang Xiaolong easily flipped himself out of the city and treaded on the snow towards Qixia College. Despite the flying snowflakes and dim illumination of lanterns, he caught sight of the tall surrounding wall around the courtyard where Qixia College is situated. The college sits atop a small hill beyond the west gate and is formed by countless conjoined buildings, emitting an impressive sensation. Currently, Xiang Xiaolong is no longer concerned about Xie Ziwan's fate in the power tussle for the throne of Qi. Since Xie Ziwan is Tianjian's most trusted subordinate, even if Tianjian switched sides and relied on Tiandan, Xie Ziwan would retain his usefulness. The sacrificial lambs would be limited to Zhang Sunlong and first Prince Tiansheng. Once he obtained his 100 battle saber, he could instantly run as far away as he likes, filling him with infinite joy. With the aid of snow skis, he would be back in the warm comfort of his own home in Xianyang within 30 days. In this world, is there anything more delightful than this? Utilizing the cover of snowy forest on the left of Qixia College, he slithered towards the east wall, fully displaying this forte of the special forces. As the wall is only a third as high as Linzi's city wall, he simply somersaulted over the college's outer wall. Identifying the main cluster of buildings, Xiang Xiaolong raised his alertness to a maximum as he snuck towards his goal. From the lantern's glow, the corridors linking the various courtyards were void of pedestrians and noise. From afar, the sound of a flute and a zither is audible. It was a scene of tranquility. The time is nearly 11 o'clock and most of the population should be fast asleep in bed, granting Xiang Xiaolong much convenience. Arriving at the garden of the main hall, he finally observed 3 men who are dressed in scholarly uniforms walking by. Promptly concealing himself behind a clump of trees, he did not anticipate the 3 men to suddenly halt and began admiring the snow. Stuck, Xiang Xiaolong could neither advance nor retreat and was forced to listen to their exchange. Out of the blue, one of the men started to ponder about a heaven. He professed, a ruler must first familiarize himself with heaven. Not knowing the workings of heaven and the laws of nature, the ruler will be like scratching an itchy feet without taking off the shoe. Tutor Shen, what is your opinion on this? The man named Tutor Shen wondered, is Lecturer Lao feeling the effects of the relentless snowstorm and becoming pessimistic, thereby allowing these thoughts to arise? The third man laughed, nobody understands Lecturer Lao better than Tutor Shen, but I would connect his present thinking to his recent research of Sun Kuang's system of heaven. The camouflaged Xiang Xiaolong is first-hand experiencing for himself the culture of hollow discussion by Qixia scholars. He prayed they would leave as soon as possible. Lecturer Lao solemnly explained, this time round, Lecturer Zhou is mistaken. I am in full disagreement with Sun Kuang's system of heaven. Sun Kuang's non-intervention is only good in theory but is non-executable. It is a wide departure from reality despite the wide topics that have been debated. Compared to Guanzhong's Man-King Heaven-Earth, they are poles apart. The latter book relates a necessary and practical approach to recognizing the correlation between heaven and man. Tutor Shen bellowed with laughter, Lecturer Lao has stirred my interests. Come. Let us return to our rooms before cooking some wine and chatting into the night. After the three men have wandered off, Xiang Xiaolong thanked heaven and earth. Scooting out, he furtively made a wide detour around a frozen pond outside the main hall. Coming to a west-facing window of the main hall, he pried open a window shutter and opened it slightly. Upon peeping in, he observed a tall, spacious, and wide inner structure that could easily accommodate 100 men. Towards the south wall, a portion of it stands an elevated platform that is usually reserved for prayers. Right above the stage is a giant signboard, which the 4 words A Qixia Hall were sculptured. What left Xiang Xiaolong the deepest impression were the carved flowers on the beams situated at the top of the hall. Coupled with huge, red-painted pillars, they give the hall an authoritative and formal ambience while appearing intimidating at the same time. In this moment, the other doors and windows are securely fastened. The only source of light is 2 oil lamps positioned on the platform, bathing the main hall in dim red illumination and from bright to dark depending on the distance between lamps and the section of the hall. Scanning the hall a few times, he finally pinpointed his 100 battle saber hanging high up in the middle of the east wall. If he tried jumping, he should be able to touch the end of the saber. Exhilarated, Xiang Xiaolong crossed the window ledge and somersaulted into the hall, briskly walking towards the 100 battle saber. The interior of the great hall is still void of noise and human, but in his heart, Xiang Xiaolong was instead experiencing an indescribable feeling, causing him extreme discomfort. His hand wrapping around the hilt of blood wave, Xiang Xiaolong stopped walking. With an aaeek sound, the door leading to the front portion began to swing open despite the lack of wind or action. Xiang Xiaolong groaned inwardly. He was about to make a run for it, but it is already too late. What followed was a cold snigger as a man dressed in white arrogantly entered the hall. Every time his step lands on the ground, it would create a sound, seemingly playing a melody that resembles a death knell. The bizarre thing is, although he was not walking very quickly, Xiang Xiaolong could sense that this man could intercept himself if he had tried to retreat through the window. What was truly disheartening and frightening was, although this man has yet to draw his sword, he is already emitting an overpowering and domineering aura, making Xiang Xiaolong feel that he would lose without a doubt. An encounter with such a fearsome swordsman is a first for Xiang Xiaolong. Xiang Xiaolong bravely turned around to meet his opponent face to face. The man leisurely stopped about 10 odd feet away from Xiang Xiaolong. With charcoal black hair that laid spread over his wide and muscular shoulders, he possessed a nose hooked like an eagle's beak and a pair of deep-set, penetrating eyes, giving the impression that he is a man without mercy. Hanging by the side of his body, his 2 hands are longer than the average man and the skin of his face and hands are as white as snow. In terms of appearance and body build, it is something even Xiang Xiaolong considers rare. He is even taller and ferocious looking than Guanzongzi, giving others a ruthless vibe. His eyes are profound and unfathomable, glowing with focus and a sense of fearlessness, and felt like they never need to blink. The sharp contrast of black hair and white skin portrays him to be like a warrior chief from hell who has broken through the earth to enter the human realm. Xiang Xiaolong gasped with a surprised breath, "Cao Quideo." The man assessed him swiftly and nodded, "That is right. I did not expect the saber thief tonight when I just received news this very afternoon. Report your name. I wish to see who is it that has the guts to create trouble at my, Cao Quideo's, place." Xiang Xiaolong's heart sank all the way to the bottom. Only two men, Han Chuang and Xiao Yuetan, know about his intention to commit theft. The latter obviously would not betray him. Only Han Chuang remains. Despite saving his life on multiple occasions, Han Chuang has resorted to using this despicable scheme of borrowing someone else's knife to kill himself, causing Xiang Xiaolong to feel depressed and hurt. From the standpoint of the three states, Han Zhaowei, it would be excellent if Xiang Xiaolong was killed by a Qi native. When Qin and Qi wage war on each other, the three states will stand to benefit without paying any price. Casting aside all desires to retrieve his saber as well as all irrelevant thoughts, he fixated his attention on surviving this encounter. Once he composed his emotions, he drew Bloodwave out with Zhang, and hollered in a low voice, awaiting instructions from the saint. He is aware he cannot get off the hook easily and a quick battle is the best way out. In the meantime, he will look for a window of opportunity to make a getaway. If more people are alerted and rushed over in assistance, he would not be able to escape even if he grew wings. Cao Quideo plainly state, "You have got guts. For the past 10 years, nobody has dared to draw his sword in front of me. You have come with pure defiance as I have given strict orders, forbidding anyone to enter the Great Hall at night. I will personally deal with all offenders and you happen to be the first." Witnessing that with his sword still sheathed, this man is already eyeing the world with contempt and behaved as if he is unstoppable, he dared not be complacent and shifted slightly forward and pointed his sword at him, generating his own fighting aura that can barely withstand the invisible pressure coming from his opponent. Only the best fighters are able to produce such an astounding effect. His eyebrow twitched as Cao Quideo revealed a small sign of surprise on his face. He demanded, "Show me what you have." How glad was Xiang Xiaolong when he heard these words. Fighting against this widely acknowledged #1 swordsman whose sword skills have attained a saintly level, he was actually filled with horror. Looking at his posture as if he need not use his sword, Xiang Xiaolong cannot afford to hold back and unleashed Mozi's most powerful attack from the 3 killing stances, attacking while defending. Coupled with his striding footwork, Bloodwave whizzed towards Cao Quideo. Xiang Xiaolong could not think of another swordplay that was more suited for this kind of situation. Even if Cao Quideo has 3 heads and 6 arms, this would be his first encounter with such an amazing sword style. No matter what, he would have to adopt a defensive position for a few moves before counterattacking. When that happens, he could use this advantage to run for his life. With a sound, the front of Cao Quideo abruptly exploded into a mass of sword flashes. Xiang Xiaolong has never seen such a fast sword in his whole life. The moment he saw his opponent's hand move, the sword flashes instantly advanced towards himself. Not only is there no sign of a defensive position, it is a hardcore style of facing an attack head-on with his own attack. His mind processing at the speed of electricity, he concludes that beside a fast sword, his opponent's sword strength and sword skills are beyond comparison, achieving an amazing and fascinating level. Based on past formidable opponents such as Guanzongzi, Cao Quideo's fighting ability is at least 2 levels higher up. Simply put, Xiang Xiaolong is definitely not his match. As the thoughts sink in, his fighting spirit decreased by half and he no longer possessed the courage to attack forcefully, deciding to concentrate on defending instead. He swung his sword out. Dang! Using all his innate abilities, Xiang Xiaolong shifted horizontally by 3 feet. Coupled with his footwork, he barely parried the incoming sword Cao Quidao has sent flying towards his chest. He could instantly feel the strength of his opponent crushing down on him like a mountain and could not help but take half a step back. Retrieving his sword and standing still, his eyes shone with delight as Cao Quidao cheerfully laughed, "You actually managed to block an attack that I have launched with full strength. This is wonderful. It is hard to find a worthy opponent nowadays. If you can withstand another 9 strokes from me, I will let you leave." Xiang Xiaolong's right hand is turning numb as he realized his opponent is born with the strength of an ox, easily surpassing his own. No wonder he has yet to meet with defeat. Just by forcefully slashing with a sword, he could easily overwhelm most swordsmen. Moreover, he has trained to become an outstanding and invincible swordsman, inducing fear wherever he goes. In front of this master swordsman, even though they are about the same height, Xiang Xiaolong would somehow view himself as being the shorter one. Don't even talk about 9 strokes of his sword. He would be glad if he could successfully block the next strike. Xiang Xiaolong knows that without confidence and hope, he would certainly and regrettably meet his demise in this hall tonight. However, his opponent's stifling effect has never left the scene, giving him the sensation of futility as if his every effort would surely be thwarted. At his level of accomplishment, he is already undergoing such pressure. If it were a less skillful swordsman in his shoes, his heart and gall would have imploded, ending his life without the sword necessarily piercing his body. Cao Quidao is able to surpass all other swordsmen because his cultivation of the sword has reached a godly state. Cao Quidao coldly rumbled, "The second stroke." With aaswa sound, the opponent's long sword came slashing down. Xiang Xiaolong has gathered all his energy in preparation for this blow, but this attack of Cao Quidao has somewhat given him the illusion that it is unblockable. This strike is neither a fast strike nor a slow strike. Cao Quidao is in full control of the speed of the attack, but Xiang Xiaolong could inherently sense that Cao Quidao is putting all his strength into this blow. Logically, the more strength one puts into the attack, the faster the weapon would move and vice versa. However, Cao Quidao's strike is neither fast nor slow but is able to create the perception that it carries his full strength behind it. Xiang Xiaolong is exceedingly depressed. What strongly bugged him was this strange and unexplainable sword move and the conflicting speed. His conviction is beginning to waver and he could not fix the point where he wishes to parry the attack, causing tremendous anxiety. In all his duels and battles, this is the first time he felt so powerless despite his abilities. His fear may consume him, but the inbounding sword needs to be parried nonetheless. Fortunately, his mental energy has always been steady. Notwithstanding this disadvantageous scenario, he is able to swiftly recollect his emotions and resumed his calm demeanor. His intuition tells him if he were to step back, the opponent's sword would attack with the force of a bursting dam and death will be a likelihood. Running out of choices, Xiang Xiaolong adopted a horse stance and twirled his sword, trailing a crescent of sword brilliance before piercing towards Cao Quidao's abdomen. Theoretically, his attack is faster than Cao Quidao's by a tiny bit. Therefore, unless Cao Quidao increases his attacking speed, he would have to block Xiang Xiaolong's blow instead. Otherwise, by the time Xiang Xiaolong's sword impaled his abdomen, Cao Quidao's sword would still be about 6 inches away from Xiang Xiaolong's face. As cool as ever, Cao Quidao snorted once and twisted his wrist downwards, flawlessly and accurately chopping down on the sword tip of the advancing blood wave. It is as if Xiang Xiaolong had purposely prepared the sword for him to chop down on. Xiang Xiaolong secretly cursed. With a ding sound, the top section of blood wave, around an inch long, has been sliced off. With the vibrating hilt causing much pain to his hand, he has no choice but to take a step back. Cao Quidao let out a string of laughter. His sword stance becoming strong again, he roared, "The third stroke." In a flash, his sword is about to reach Xiang Xiaolong's chest. Xiang Xiaolong finally and thoroughly experienced the worldly sword skills of this world-famous Grandmaster swordsman. His sword skills are simply extraordinary, and behind a seemingly ordinary move are countless hidden variations and tricks, which one can never expect or guard against. For example, this is an ordinary attack, but it would somehow give the impression that he has devoted every muscle in his body, all his feelings and spiritual energy concentrated into one single blow. As a result, even a plain move like this is filled with a devastating power that one cannot hope to resist against. In the past, no matter what types of marvelous sword moves Xiang Xiaolong encounters, he could easily launch a counterattack. On the contrary, confronted with Cao Qidao's simple-looking but complicated sword style, he felt as if his hands and legs are tied and could not put up a successful defense. To make it worse, Xiang Xiaolong was in the middle of taking the step back while Cao Qidao's sword is fast approaching him like a lightning strike, causing him to be in a dilemma whether to step back or forward. From this episode, it demonstrates Cao Qidao's excellent grasp of timing. Since the beginning of the duel, Xiang Xiaolong has been encountering restrictions in all his sword moves. If this goes on, it would be a miracle if he did not end up dead. Xiang Xiaolong viciously gnashed his teeth and turned his body while attacking with his sword. He simultaneously kicked out from below at the speed of light, aiming at Cao Qidao's right calf, which happened to be taking a forward stride. Cao Qidao bellowed in a low voice, "How dare you!" Hacking his sword against Cao Qidao's sword, Xiang Xiaolong was surprised when he did not hear the sound of weapons clashing. It turned out that when both swords came into contact, Cao Qidao displayed an uncanny move by twisting his sword around Xiang Xiaolong's, forcing him to stumble forward with the same momentum and naturally negating his kick from below. In his mind, Xiang Xiaolong knows he is in deep trouble. As the whistling of the sword rang out in the air, an ominous atmosphere descended on him from all directions, making him feel like he is caught in the middle of a tsunami. In this life-and-death situation, Xiang Xiaolong casted off every single notion about escaping away that has been occupying his mind. With regards to Cao Qidao's aggressive sword stances, he treated them with emptiness and gathered all his vigor to launch a blow towards Cao Qidao's head. Under the present circumstances, he could only rely on the fastest speed and selecting the shortest route, forcing his opponent to parry this attack no matter what. Otherwise, even the powerful Cao Qidao would end up in a scenario where both men would be severely injured. Nevertheless, he has underestimated Cao Qidao once again. Out of a sudden, he can feel a cold sensation emanating from an area near his left rib cage. Cao Qidao's sword had stabbed his body before flipping upward, breaking his killing move. Although the opponent's sword only penetrated about an inch into his flesh, Xiang Xiaolong can feel fresh blood gushing out of the wound. If this loss of blood were to go on, it would not be long before he would lose the ability to fight. Cao Qidao's sword is so quick that up till this point in time, he has yet to feel the pain from the injury. Cao Qidao laughed boisterously, the fourth stroke. Rapidly formulating a plan, Xiang Xiaolong pretended to collapse, discarding blood wave onto the ground and at the same time, staggered a few steps backwards. Just as Cao Qidao was still reeling with astonishment, Xiang Xiaolong retreated to the spot below the 100 battle saber. He hurriedly leapt up, grabbing the end of the saber sheath, finally obtaining his beloved treasure weapon. Cao Qidao furiously thundered, "You are asking for death." Conjuring a multitude of sword flashes with the sword in his hand, he darted forward with steady footwork, propelling another attack at Xiang Xiaolong. Xiang Xiaolong drew out the saber from its sheath, something that he hasn't done for quite some time. With his left hand clutching the sheath and his right hand gripping the saber, his confidence increased by several folds. Dang! Unanticipated by Cao Qidao, Xiang Xiaolong vehemently parried his sword with the sheath and with a wave of his wrist. Sua! 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 He made 3 continuous chops at his opponent, resembling 3 lightning strikes. The chops were indomitable and overbearing to the max. Cao Qidao's is vulnerable as this is the first time he is fighting against a saber which forte lies in chopping moves. To make it worse, Xiang Xiaolong is using the sheath to block his sword and simultaneously counterattacking with the saber. Nevertheless, he did not exhibit the slightest display of fluster and for the first time, adopted a defensive position. Without taking a single step backwards, he resisted torrent after torrent of saber chops. The sound of clashing of the sword and the saber rang out non-stop. Xiang Xiaolong senses that his opponent is like a fortress which cannot be conquered. Regardless of the angle he struck with his saber, Qixia is always able to negate his attack. This consciousness is beginning to weigh down on his mind, resulting in a form of stress. Nonetheless, being able to force him into a defensive position within a short space of time is something he can be proud of. Letting out a long laugh, Xiang Xiaolong delivered another earth-smattering strike before retreating and calling out, "How many strokes is it now?" Qixia halted in bewilderment, realizing that they have long exceeded the agreed 10 strokes. Picking up Bloodwave along the way, Xiang Xiaolong made good his escape through the window.